And just like that, I was saved by the bell. It was the worst. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I cannot believe I just completely crashed and burned trying to French kiss this 8th grader. Not even crisscross, French kiss this 8th grader, right? So, literally, so I think we both had the same PE together. That's what it was. So, I hunted her down later that day, and I'm just like, hey, I wanted to apologize for that. She's like, apologize for what? And I'm like, for my terrible kiss. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm sorry, and she's like, don't worry about it, and then it was just like, that was it. Like, we didn't try to hone our craft. We didn't go back for seconds. It was just like, this guy, he's just not ready, right? And I wasn't. Like, I was like this little, nervous, little shy kid, face full of acne, and even though she had a face full of acne, like, she was super confident, and, for her to be like, why are you apologizing? Like, I don't get it. Like, that was cool, but I was just like, because I sucked, fortunately for me, and, maybe unfortunately for her, I've gotten much better with my tongue over the years. So, I wasn't even going to do a second podcast, but because it ended up like, I spoke another 20 minutes, and I guess the damn thing stopped recording or whatever. But, I was going to get in, I had briefly mentioned on the previous podcast, which got cut off, that the next year at, I guess, it wasn't even like, it was like, I was in 8th grade, and it was like a science camp, so we got to go to, what was it, the Cleveland National Forest. I guess it doesn't matter what forest it was, but it was a forest. We were supposed to go on like a 3-mile hike, get to our campground, and then just enjoy, 3 miles. Well, we got lost. We ended up, the teacher was with us, so, at least the teacher was lost also. But I remember there was this younger kid, 7th grade kid, total smack, everybody was always, clowning on him because he was just, he was like, wasn't just smart and people bothered him, he was just like annoying. Like, teacher, he had like a nasally voice, and, why do I always have to be the last one in the pack, And I'm like, dude, you don't always have to be. Like, literally, you could like walk faster and be in the front and stop whining that you're in the back. Well, he was in the back, and then all of a sudden, like, we're like, dude, where did he go? Turns out that like a rattlesnake or something had crossed his path, and he just froze. And I'm laughing at this, but I would have done the same thing, like, he completely froze. He probably did yell out to somebody, but nobody was paying him any mind. It's like, oh, it's just Jeff. He's just talking out of his ass, Well, sure enough, like, I guess he let the thing pass, but he was just still frozen. Like, I want to go back. I can't do this. This wasn't cracked out to what it's not what I expected. Well, turns out, and he smelled, too. I think that was another thing. He smelled. Like, I'm like, dude, do you even take showers? Like, what the fuck? So, finally, like, it's getting dark, and then some park ranger finally found us. And so, we got back to the campsite. And as all good teenage kids do, we decided to pass the time by playing Spin the Bottle. Was it Spin the Bottle? It might have been Spin the Bottle along with Truth or Dare. Like, was there a bottle in Truth or Dare? Or was it just Truth? No, I think Spin the Bottle, that you spin it. And so we played that first. And so it spun and it landed on Pam. And I was just like, oh, okay, so Dave and Pam kiss. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'd rather kiss Sue, even though I think she might be gay or a lesbian or whatever. So I kissed Pam, I played by the rules. And then I guess later on we played Truth or Dare. And then so it was like, hey, Dave, why don't you and Sue French kiss? And so here I go again with my second chance to... Here I go with my chance to redeem myself. I'm sure she had no idea that I was just awful in 7th grade. Well, in 8th grade, I got it right this time, because I'm just like, all right, Dave, just like, be like supple, keep your mouth pliable, open your mouth, don't go crazy with the tongue. Don't be like, just like, Don't use your tongue like you're licking pussy, like, while you're French kissing. Be slow about it, right? So it's fast when you're licking and slow when you're kissing, right? So that's a little hint for you guys out there. And so, because you do not want to lick pussy like you're licking a lollipop. Like, you don't want to be that owl. Lick, 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 and then bite. No. And it's funny, too, because, obviously I hadn't planned on talking about, like I had mentioned, I was going to get into that the good French kiss on some other episode. Well, here it is. First episode's called Party Foul, and this one will be called Party Favor, Party Flavor, whatever you want to call it. But so here Sue and I go, and we start kissing, and we're bored. Like, we're just teenagers, and we're all bored. And so the fact that we have, like, two decent looking kids, and we're like just locking lips, and then somebody was like, okay, break it up. And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't even, like, we were having so much fun, and I was like getting hard, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like incredible. Is this what French kissing is all about? Like I was like feeling like I had just fallen in love with her, like just by French kissing, and I'm just like, wow, like, oh, her tongue is in my mouth, and my tongue is in her mouth, and she's cute, and why does she have a butch girlfriend back at the school, I don't know. Maybe she wasn't gay. Maybe she was just bi. I don't know. But evidently she knew how to use her tongue, at least kissing wise. Probably other areas too, but I didn't get to explore all that until I was probably, gosh, I remember being 18 and getting my first blowjob, I guess. And by a girl, yes. Thank you for reminding me, Dice, you fucking asshole. And she was older. She was like, I was 18. She was like 24, I think it was. And I had worked with her at like the service deli at Ralph's Supermarket. And so I had the hots for her just because she was old. She was an older woman. I mean, like, back then I did like older women just because, like, girls my age were always dating older guys, and they wouldn't give me the time of day. So for me to actually, get the attention of some older woman that could drink and she could buy liquor, I was just like, holy fuck, this is nice, Well, it turned out that ended up becoming a problem because she wanted to settle down, have kids, and I'm just like, 18, 19, LA riots are happening, like, I think she broke up with me the weekend of the LA riots. So I was just like, oh man, all the world's going to hell, and then I get broken up with on the same fucking weekend. But it was for the best. I mean, she invited me to her wedding. She invited me to her kids' birthday parties, pool parties. I'm just like, oh, this is so weird. It's so awkward. And I remember, like, when I was 18, she serviced me, and I think I tried to go down on her, but I was in the front seat, like the front passenger seat. It was not working. And she wanted to have sex, and I'm just like, no, I'm saving myself for marriage, blah blah blah. And she got really upset about that. Like, I can't believe, like, no guy's ever turned me down before. Like, how dare you, And I'm just like, well, I'm sorry. Like, I'm a Christian to an extent, Like, I'm trying to save something. I don't think I saved anything except for actual sex. I think I had anal sex before I had actual sex. So, anyways, this is a very candid podcast. I'm keeping it real with you guys. I'm not condoning this behavior, by the way, but I'm sure everyone's had a much crazier youth than I did. But so along those lines, like along the whole French kissing thing. Oh, so then they said, so they broke us up, and then later on, I think the next day actually. I had hinted to my friend. I said, "Hey, man, like if you get the truth or dare, like dare me to, finish what I started with Sue, And so he's like, so he got the dare, and he's like, yeah, Dave and Sue, go ahead and finish what you started. And I was like, yeah, because like it was funny because like we would do it for a dare, but it wasn't like I didn't know her. She didn't know me really, like other than we were in the same class. So, but you would think that if we had such a good kiss, like, why wouldn't we have just done it without being dared to? Like, I don't get that. But I guess, maybe she was trying to be faithful to her girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it was. But yeah, she was like so like was it 80s mod or whatever the term was. Like she had like the short hairdo and odd angular haircut. It's like it looked like she was from MTV or something. I don't know, but yeah, like I remember just being on cloud nine because we kissed for a long time. The second time, and I think we both we were like, all right, we need to stop this because now we're making everybody else feel awkward just watching us. But I guess it was just something about being outdoors at a campground in a tent with somewhat of a stranger, and you're just like macking down, it's just like playing tonsil hockey, And oh my god, I remember going back home, just telling my next door neighbor, like, or we lived in a cul-de-sac, so he was like directly across from us, same floor plan of a house, except for it was flipped. So that was kind of cool going to his house because it was like being in my house, but it flipped layout. And I remember just telling him like detail, like what of the trip and what happened, and just reliving it. I think I got hard just talking about it. Luckily, I'm 48. Like that doesn't happen to me now. But yeah, like that was a great memory of a French kiss, and so later on in life, I remember going to some girl's prom. I'm trying to think like how did that day unfold. I remember one of the girl's name was Melissa, and then I think the other girl's name. Oh God, the girl that I actually went to the prom with. Was her name Vanessa? Or Jessica? Jessica and Melissa, that's what it was. So I remember on that day, like I felt like a total sleazeball because I remember like being on a date with Melissa, who I was into, and I wanted to like date her. But then I was doing Jessica a solid by going to her senior prom, but I was already in college. And so, Jessica was a cutie pie, like I think the only problem was like her teeth were kind of crooked or messed up or a little bit, but she was such a sweetheart. And I just watched Boomerang. So here I am thinking like I'm Eddie Murphy and I could just date as many girls as I want, or, kiss or mess around with as many people as I want. Like I was Boomerang. I remember like literally getting like a gold cummerbund and bow tie so I could look like Eddie Murphy did on the poster. And I'm not black, obviously. It's like, but I'm just like I want to look like Eddie Murphy. Like when I go to this girl's high school prom, like her senior prom. Like I remember just having a hard enough time just getting to go to my prom, which I'll tell that story at some other podcast. But this one's more about the party favor aspect of things. I guess this is the raunchy version of, me. Even though I started late, I was a late bloomer at age 26, being intimate with my now ex-wife, for the first time. And then it seemed like all my escapades and all my wrongdoings or extracurricular activity took place after I got married. So I mean I did everything in reverse, I guess. But only because, like I think I lasted 5 years of being faithful, and then after pretty much a sexless marriage for 5 years, I mean maybe like 4 times a year or 6 times if I was lucky. It just depended on how much we traveled that year. If we got out of the house, and we went somewhere, we would usually do something. In a hotel, on a cruise ship. But generally at the house, I mean, it was pretty much non-existent, I mean, everybody's raised differently, so I can't totally put the blame or put fault either on me being a horn dog or her not being a horn dog. Because generally I think I just wanted to have a regular sex life. I didn't want anything like weird or kinky or just too insane. All that stuff came later when you start looking at porn, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like I've been sheltered. How come I've never seen this magazine before? Like Buttman, what is this? It's like, oh my gosh. Or Taboo or Golden Nugget or all these fetishes, you're just like, you see all this stuff and then you think that's the norm when it really isn't. I mean, I don't really know that many people like, how many people do you know, like, that can say, oh yeah, I'm on FetLife or whatever, you know, like, I have a fetish of this or that, you know, like, you know, feet fetish, yeah, I probably am guilty of that one, not too severely. You know, golden showers if you're in a shower, not necessarily like just anywhere, you know, God forbid. But yeah, like nothing, like I've never been one to be like all into the Christian Grey type of sex where it's like, sign this waiver and, you know, I hope I don't kill you kind of thing. You know, like that poor, well, I shouldn't say poor Dodger. I don't know what happened in that situation, but the dude from the Dodgers who the girl's like suing him because he almost like strangled her, or I don't know. That's the one thing that I was always cautious about when the girl said that she wanted to have rough sex or, you know, choke me out. I'm just like, nah, like I'm not going to do it. I'm just not, because like I don't want to tell her that I don't trust her, because then that's going to ruin the relationship. But I mean, shit, relationships get ruined over the slightest, the easiest things. And you put a little bit too much pressure, or she thought she wanted to do it, but then she realized, oh wait, it looks so much more romantic on the movies, you know. Forget that, man. Like, I am not going to choke you out or bring you to the point of death and then accidentally, you know, strangle you. Like, fuck that. No, that's not, that to me, that's just way out of line, out of boundaries, you know, out of bounds. And so you do need to give yourself boundaries. Fuck this, what is it? The word, or the safe word? Fuck that. You think she's going to use the safe word if she's already choked to death? You know, like, no. So I would always be like, I'm sorry, you know, I guess this is not going to work out, because I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not vocal. I'm not very, like, just brutal or hands-on or smacking. Like, I'm not into pain, and I'm not into giving someone pain, you know. So if you're looking for a dom, you know, you're not going to find one with me. I'm like, you better be super submissive, because I'm submissive myself, you know. So, you know, I just, you know, I think you need to figure that stuff out before you get into a situation where you could really put yourself in a bad spot. So think about that, you know. And then later in life, you know, I talked about how terrible I was at French kissing. I actually got pretty good at French kissing, like, other areas. And so, like, that's kind of been what girls have remembered me by, or if anybody calls me out of the blue, like, hey, like, remember how good we had it, and blah. It's like, I don't think any of these girls want to actually have sex. I think they just want me to eat their pussy. to be blunt, you know. And I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, I'm kind of in a different headspace right now. Like, wow, like I'm flattered, you know. Thank you. I can't recall if I've ever gone back for seconds. I'm pretty sure that I probably have once or twice. And kind of nervously, you know, because it's like when you're with someone, like I would be with someone for quite a while, you know, like quite some time, and I'd date them, and we'd be friends with benefits or whatever, because, you know, they knew my situation, and, you know, they weren't looking for me to become their, like, one and only. I don't think they were looking for me to get a divorce or remarry them. One girl wanted to actually have kids with me and just say, hey, you know, like, I'll raise your kids. Like, I just want your kids. Like, I love your eyes, and I think we would have cute kids. And, you know, here, go get a fertility test to see if it's you or if it's me. Like, you know, here we are fucking, but neither one of, you know, you're not getting me pregnant, and I'm not, you know, like, I'm not necessarily trying to trap you into having a kid, but I'm just like, if it happens, like, or if it doesn't happen, I want to know, like, if it's you or if it's me. And I never did. I never went for the test, but I just thought that was, I'm like, I can't have kids out there and have someone else raise them. Like, that's weird. I would totally want to be a part of my kid's life if that was ever a possibility. But I had, Bay had mentioned in the last podcast, I had testicular cancer. And so, it was stage 1, so it may have grown to stage 2 because I waited to do chemo. I didn't want to just rush into chemo, but I probably should have, because I ended up, I would have lost my right testicle regardless, because they had to biopsy that, I guess, outside the body. Like, that one they said to do just a normal biopsy, and leave everything intact. They say that testicular cancer can spread. It metastasizes a lot faster than some other cancers, or it can spread easier if you try to biopsy a testicle. So they would just rather remove the testicle first and then study it and see if it's malignant. And it was. So I was glad it came out. I really only needed one, I guess. But I have noticed that I did, as I grew older, and maybe just growing older, maybe had nothing to do with the one testicle, but I realized that my drive had kind of dipped. I wasn't a raging sex addict or fiend or whatever. I don't think I was ever an addict. Maybe a relationship addict. I was reading a book about some kind of addictions, and it's like you enjoy that whole thrill of getting to know someone and building like the beginning of a relationship, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh fuck, I got like 4 relationships going on at once. Like, what in the hell? First of all, I can't afford it. And then second of all, it's like, like, oh, do you still talk to your exes? Well, yeah, like, they're not really my exes yet. It's like, I'm trying to figure out which one I want to like keep around, to be my like actual, like, well, what was it, like a wife, a girlfriend, and a Sancha? Like, that was crazy. Like, I don't know what movie that was, or what TV show, but I'm just like, that almost became the norm, where it's like, maybe that has the whole, you have that whole fantasy football mindset where you're just like, I need a bench, and like, I need a roster of women, or, if one goes down with injury, I need to put one back. I need to have one on the bench ready to go. Like, that's already, into me. Like, I can't have a gap of time in between women. I just need one woman to fill the next woman's space if the other one leaves me or decides that, she doesn't want to stick around. Like, I need to have something already in the pipeline or whatever, but hopefully that's not the case, like, for the rest of my life. Like, the ex-wife says, oh, I'm a serial cheater. I'm always going to be a cheater. Like, there's no hope for me. Like, I shouldn't just rush into once we get divorced, and it's official, I shouldn't just rush into marrying whoever I'm dating, And I kind of, she's like, you never listen to me. You'll never listen to me, And I'm like, well, yeah, like, why would I listen to you give me dating advice? Like, you're not even dating, or, you said, like, we've been separated since 2013, and yet every time, like, I go out and I live my life, even though we're not divorced yet, by law, like, legally, you said we've been separated since 2013. So, like, for me to already, like, trying to, like, move on and move forward and make a life for myself in the near future, I don't understand why I get so much grief. You play the marriage card when I step out for the weekend, and yet clearly we're separated. We've been separated. We're not legally separated, but, like, we've been separated for like, you say 2013, I say longer than that. Probably 2009, But anyways, and then I have this guy that I know that used to be a youth pastor, and he's a marriage counselor, and he's sending me scriptures through text, talking about marriage, and God can fix everything. God can work a miracle, and I know God can work miracles, but I don't think either one of us wants Him to. In our case, it's like, we were good friends, and I think that's where we should have ended it. Like, we weren't really, we didn't really have eros love. We didn't have sexual love. Like, I think she thought I was cute, and at that time, a decent human being, I think she thinks she was probably hoodwinked or fooled, or deceived, and I just became a product of what I was lacking. Like, we lacked intimacy, and so I waited a long time before I actually cheated. But it was a slippery slope. You'd start going to massage parlors, like bikini bars, and you're looking at people, and then you want to feel it, so you're going to you're going to massage parlors so that you can get rubbed and tugged, and but then you're just realizing, this is ridiculous. I might as well have a girlfriend. This shit costs me as much as having a girlfriend, and I'm just having random encounters with girls that either barely speak English or they're just doing it for money, and it's just like, I want it to be real. Like, I want some girl to like actually have feelings for me, and vice versa, and I was looking for like a relationship, to where I could have intimacy and a relationship, not just the relationship I had with my wife, which was pretty much just a friendship. And then that gets all twisted. It's like, you can't control your hormones. The devil has taken over you, or like, it's just all this stuff of like them not understanding. Like, I treated you so good. Why did you leave? And why did you go out on? Or why did you cheat on me? And I'm just like, yeah, you might have treated me great in other areas, but like, if the sexual area is just non-existent, or just, I mean, it pretty much was. Like, I'm not saying like sex was bad, and I'm not saying that. I will say that the sex wasn't very infrequent, and then the activities that we used to do prior to getting married, she stopped doing. No more blowjobs, no anal, nothing out of the ordinary. It was just missionary or doggy, probably not even doggy that much, just missionary, and take it or leave it. And I'm just like, well, I'm gonna have to leave it. Like, that's not what I signed up for. Like, and then having sex 4 times a year, like, what the fuck? Nobody wants that. Or I guess you want that, or I don't know, maybe she wanted to be romanced, and then maybe that was my fault. Maybe I didn't give her, maybe I didn't make the mood right. But see, I think the thing was with me is that I'm under a feminine sign, so it's almost like I need to be wooed. If a girl doesn't want to, put any effort into me, I lose interest. And they're like, gosh, you act like a little bitch. You act like the chick. And I'm like, well, I mean, I am under a feminine sign. It's like, I think that you should pursue me, and you should get me in the mood. Like, I'm not that kind of guy that's just, I'm just ready to go. Like, I need to be in the right setting. Like, I can't have sex in cars. I figured that out later on in life. I remember being demanded to have sex just because we were in Hawaii, and I was still going through like chemo treatment, or I was finished up with the chemo treatment, but I was just kind of still out of it. Like, I had chemo fog on the brain, and just, I just physically I wasn't up for any kind of sexual activity. And, but hey, we're in Hawaii, so we have to have sex at least once, or whatever it was, and I literally took offense to that. Like, you're asking me to do something that I don't feel comfortable doing, and yet I'm going to try to do it. And I think I did it, and it was probably terrible, but, thank God all that's been, forgiven, apologized for, forgiven, under the bridge. And, we're amicable. Like, we both want to go our separate ways and start over. Like, I've already started over, and I don't think she's too fond of that. But, I guess along what I was trying to say, like, I didn't know I'd get off onto this whole tangent, but what I was trying to get to for the fellas is that, like, even if your member is not behaving like it used to be, like, I'm as good once as I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm as good once as I've ever been, or something like that. Some country song. Like, I can fuck you good one time, but then it's going to take me a day or two to get going again, or a day at least. I forget. Like, I'm pretty much a morning person. Like, not a morning person. I'm a morning sexual person. pretty much by the end of the day, I'm just done. Like whatever reserve or whatever energy I have, I'm probably digesting my food, and my blood flow doesn't want to go to where it's supposed to go. So I'm just like, hey, hit me up in the morning, like when I have like morning wood, and we'll do this, So like literally, if I'm ever getting a room at a hotel, like you can pretty much guarantee I'm not going to do anything the night of. It's always going to be like either before breakfast, after breakfast, or definitely before checkout, because I don't know, like I'm not the night guy. Like it's like, oh, we can have night sex, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know, like if the stars are in the right alignment and I don't eat too big of a meal, and I'm not drunk, or it's just like, yeah, I'm pretty much one and done, and then let me get mine, and then I'll make sure you get yours. And so, like, if you're like that, don't feel like you're not in the majority. I think the majority of men, they probably do have erection dysfunction, and not so much where you need pills. Like, I think once you start taking pills, you get to where you need them, or you feel like you have to take them. I try to stay away from that stuff, sometimes it's a necessity, because if you're with someone that's a lot younger and they want you to go every day, like, you're going to need that. You will need it just to get hard. But I find that those things, they affect me in other ways. Like there's a lot of caffeine in them, or like my heart starts feeling like it's beating out of my chest. And, you don't want to die just over a boner. It's like, be smart with that. If it says 2 pills, take 1, work your way up, and then if it doesn't give you any kind of chub, then you might need to take a pill and a half, maybe 2, but, be smart about it too. Like, only take it like 2 or 3 hours before you think that you're going to actually have sex. Or do what I do. Wait until like nature is on your side. Like testosterone is always the highest in the morning for men. For whatever reason, that's why guys have morning wood all the time. Is that your testosterone builds up as you sleep overnight. And if you're not getting enough sleep as it is, and you've been working all day and you've been utilizing your testosterone for energy to get through the day, your reserve is going to be pretty low. Like, especially with me with one nut, I don't know if I manufacture half as much testosterone as I used to. I don't know. Like, I've never really gone in for a clinical test or what have you. Haven't signed up or talked to a HIMS, online dude, doctor yet or whatever. I think I did. I think I went through that whole process, and then I got held up on the whole blood pressure thing. What's your blood pressure? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. And I never was able to fill that out, so he could never like prescribe me any pills. And so I'm like, all right, because they're held liable. That they're not trying to. They don't want to kill you over a boner either, But what I tell guys too is that, like, pretty much, I mean, if you're that way where you're maybe like you're one and done, like the Chiefs used to be in the playoffs before Mahomes came aboard. If you're one and done, or you're just like, hey, let me give it to you good for a couple minutes, whatever it is, make sure you're good with your mouth, your tongue, and that's what I've been pretty much known for, I guess, in the girls that I've dated. Like, they've always said good things, like, wow, like, you're the best that's ever done that to me, or whatever, like, I try not to toot my horn, but I take all that info in, and I must be doing something right, even though every time I do it, I feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just basically down there, and I try not to talk. I try not to, like, she might be talking or she might be moaning, but I try not to, like, engage that. I might giggle here or there, or just, like, acknowledge with a head nod or something that, like, yeah, like, I get you, like, okay, keep going, okay, and, but pretty much, like, I think the whole trick to it, from what I've learned, is just steady pressure and like a steady rhythm. You can't be just all over the place with the rhythm of your tongue. It just needs to be, it can't be too slow. It can't be too fast and like weird or awkward, or just, you can't be like licking all over the place. Like, find her clit, focus on the clit. Focus on the clit. That's basically it. Focus on the clit. Like lick, 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 lick. You breathe. I'm a mouth breather, so that might help, because I don't feel like, sometimes I do feel like I might suffocate, but you're in control of that. Like, by all means, like, you don't have to keep licking without taking it. Like, breathe, because then you're going to just stop licking and pass out. It's like, you got to breathe. You got to get oxygen into your fucking lungs, So if you're a nose breather and your nose is all up against her her pubic bone, or your tongue's up against her clit, your her fupa's on your forehead, it's like, press into that, like I'm pretty sure they like that kind of that pressure. But whenever you see a girl playing with herself, she's using her fingers on her clit, so use your tongue with pressure, not too much, but and a steady rhythm, and try not to break that rhythm, and just keep going. And then you'll hear her giving you clues like, oh my god, I'm almost there, oh my gosh, like, oh, it feels so good, oh my gosh, don't stop, keep doing that. That's not the time to, like, all of a sudden just like stick your finger on her pussy and then start doing like weird shit. It's like, I've literally had girls like, no, take your finger out of my pussy, like, just yell at me. Some girls like the finger and the tongue going at the same time, but each girl's different, right? Sometimes they don't want you to, they don't want you to try to do two things at once. Just focus on the tongue, the steady rhythm, the steady pressure, and lick, 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 breathe, lick, 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 breathe, lick, 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 breathe. And every now and then, maybe like, kind of suck on the clit in between, when she's not, whenever she's not saying don't stop, like, you gotta make sure you keep that rhythm going, even if you are sucking for air. Like, you need to like take those breaths, but keep going, keep that rhythm going, because it literally, it's like if a girl's jerking you off, like giving you a hand job or something, or maybe she's blowing you or whatever, and then she stops, and then nobody wants to stop, start, no, because that just throws the whole rhythm off. It's all about being in the same rhythm with the person, and get into it, like, move your head, move your body, like, rock with her, rock the boat, so to speak, and but apply steady pressure and constant medium licking. It's not a slow lick, it's not a fast lick. It's like, sometimes it can be a fast lick as you're getting to where she needs to be, and then once she does, like, you'll know it, like, she'll start laughing or giggling or squirming or quivering or whatever, and that's when she came, or she's either a good actress, or but for the most part, like, they want to come, so like, they're gonna give you as much instruction as they can for you to get them there. And if you get them there, you're golden, dude. Like, they appreciate that. Like, they appreciate guys that, even after it was easy for me to come, or the dude to come, that they don't just turn over and go to sleep, go downstairs, grab a beer. Like, they're like, okay, now it's your turn. Like, get on your back. Oh, here we go. And it's like he actually loves me. He cares me enough to like make sure I get mine. And if you show that much consideration, I guess. It's just being courteous, for God's sakes. Like, if she got you off, shouldn't you do the same? Like, if you got to come first, it's not like she's making you wait all that time, like, I don't think I've ever, that's really interesting. I don't think that a girl's ever made me wait to come until she got hers first, because I think she knew I was going I was going to take care of her, and I was going to take care of her good, like even if I had sex and when I came inside of her and, I might be dripping out of her, like I'm going down, like you're going to get yours one way or the other, and maybe that like adds to like, oh my God, he's so fucking freaky. Like he's so kinky. Like I can't believe I lucked out. But, just don't stop. Just, there needs to be a steady rhythm, breathe with your mouth, or breathe with your nose, however you breathe. Just, don't be who you're not. Just focus on licking and make sure like if she has like a lot of vulva or her lips are, bigger than most, or, it covers her clit. Make sure you get her clit like exposed enough so where she can feel your tongue right on it. Like, I mean, if a girl is licking your cock and she's licking the tip, that feels really good, by the way. If you don't do that already, like try doing that to your man. Just apply steady licking, or lick on his hole, his dick hole, his penis hole, whatever it is. And that shit feels amazing. You wouldn't even think about that it would, but it does. And and then when the girl is sucking and she's also using her hands down below on the testicles and in between your ass and like the perineum, and she's just like massaging you here and there, like that shit feels good. Like I think guys do enjoy both hands and mouth as opposed to just mouth, and but I tell you, like sometimes too, like, and girls, if you're with a guy, like say for instance with me, I'm uncut, so it's like, I could technically hold my foreskin back or pull it back, but if you're just sucking the dick and the foreskin's over the dick, the guy is thankful that you're down there, but he's not getting the full experience. It's like a woman that her clit's covered up by the vulva and a guy's just licking the outside of her pussy. It's like, okay, can you like get to the center? Can you spread the lips and lick my clit? Can you pull back the foreskin and suck the tip of my dick? Like that's where all my nerve endings are, So, but I think that comes over like you being with having a partner, it's random sex, just one-offs and one night stands. Like, I don't think the sex can be that great unless you're with somebody and like you get good at it. Like I think that's why I end up being with the women that I've been with for a while, because I want to have monogamous sex. I want to have sex that we both like and we get good at it. I remember there was this one woman, and she liked her sex a certain way, and that was it. Like, I don't want to really go do many different variations or positions. Like, I want to be on top. I want you to get me off, and you can come in 15 seconds. I don't care, but that's the way I want to ride you, And she rode me, and 15 seconds later, it's like 8 seconds, like a fucking rodeo, right? That was about it. And then I don't even think in that relationship, I don't even think she really enjoyed like having me perform oral sex on her. So it was really weird for me, because like I really enjoyed giving oral sex, and I thought that was one of my gifts, and I just wasn't able to use it on her just because she wasn't into it. Like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good just riding you. And I'm like, okay, well, what about me? Like I like that. Like, I miss that. Like, and so that part of it, that's why we just were friends with benefits. We never became a relationship, or it never went past being fuck buddies, because it was just like, I'm looking for a certain thing sexually, like something like, that I like to do. Like, I will literally like pre-screen somebody before I have sex with them. I'm like, can you climax like clitorally, or are you like pretty much a vaginal climaxer? where you need to be pounded for hours, because that's not me. Like, I am not going to be that guy on the porno that's pounding you for an hour with a big ass dick that's like hitting your G-spot. Like, no. Like, I mean, I'm adequate size, but like, if I can't eat your pussy and you can come that way, like, I don't think it's going to be a good fit. Like, I don't, and unfortunately, like, when you grow up Christian, you're just, you really don't, you can't really ask. I guess you can ask those questions because maybe some people have had pasts, but if you're like a devout Christian and you've never had sex, like, I mean, how are you going to know that? Like, how are you going to know what you like, what you don't like? That's my problem with, just that whole part of sexuality. It's like, if you haven't been with a few people, it's like, how do you know what you really like, or what you don't like, But I'm sure there's much to be said about just being with one person, so I'm not trying to discourage that. I'm talking about being with one person from the jump, So if you haven't started, then don't, just continue to walk that good life, and God's going to give you someone, hopefully, that is a good fit for you in every category, not just sexually. Sexually, it's really important. I think sex is a really big part of a marriage. So you need to, even if you haven't had sex and you're just in marital counseling, I think you need to talk about it. You need to feel comfortable talking about it with your spouse, because if you can't talk about it before you're married, more than likely you're not going to talk about it while you're married, and then that becomes a problem. And then you're talking about it with your friends. You're talking about your sex life with other women or other men if you're a female, or, other whoever, if you're a same sex, I don't know. Like, you're talking about it with another potential partner, and then eventually you'll be with that person having sex. So it's like, you need to make sure that you can be open and talk about sex with your partner or your partner to be. Otherwise, it's not gonna end well. It's gonna end up in you getting married to the wrong person, and not so much the wrong person, just the wrong fit for you, the wrong fit for her. You can save someone a lot of heartache, time, trouble, money, and then in my case, I'm going to be having to pay $300 a month for God knows how long, so until supposedly she finds a man, which I doubt she wants to, after she's been, and that's the thing, like, you say I've been wronged by so many men, but, and that's true, like, you have been, but there's got to be at some point where you look to yourself and say, yeah, like, I had a part of that, like, it might have been an insignificant part. It might have been 10% my fault, 90% his. I would like to think it's more like 60-40, 70-30, but, like, regardless of what kind of percentage you had in the failure of a marriage, I remember this. I felt like God told me this, which it's always amazing whenever I feel like God says anything to me, but like, I was feeling like, man, I'm just a failure, man. I'm a failure at everything. I'm a failure at life, failure at my marriage, and failure at my job, and God was like, you're not a failure. You're not a failure, Dave. You failed her, she failed you, but neither of you are failures. And so I just took that to heart and just decided to believe it, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I wasn't right for her, she wasn't right for me, like, which led to me failing her failing me, and, like, let's just end this and agree to disagree, agree to move on, and hope for the best, like, I hope for the best for her. Like, I don't know if I've ruined her emotionally, or ruined her, like, where she holds grudges and she can't get past it. Like, I hope that that's not the case. I hope that she's able to find find love, like true love, like, maybe not just true love, but good sex. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know what she wants at this stage of her life. Like, I think that was another issue, is that she was, like, I think almost 5 years older than me when we married. And, she was more like ready for the settling down. And I was 29. I was still living at home with my parents. I was working as a bellhop at a hotel. So, like, I really wasn't financially stable. I probably wasn't mature enough. She even tells me today, like, here I am, 48. I got married at 29. You're no better off now than you were then. I might make more money, but she's like, emotionally or maturity wise, like, you're not mature enough to get married. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you should stay single. And I'm like, well, I don't like being single. Like, I want to be with one person and explore and enjoy life with one person. Like, it might take me a while to figure out who that one person is, but I think I have a good read on it right now. But don't use all my past failures and throw them in my face and say, oh, well, what happened to that girl? What happened to that girl? Well, life happened to her and me and you, and like, life happens, like, and you just have to roll with the punches. So that was my party favor podcast. I have no idea how that became such a lesson, a life lesson. I don't know. I was gonna be all funny about it and just like give a tip to guys on how to eat pussy, but I got all preachy with it. Anyways, you guys and gals, have a great night. I'm doing this not in the bathroom. I'm doing this from my bedroom, with all 5 dogs in the bed with me. And, gosh, it's probably like 1:30. I got to get up at like 5 or 5:30 and, be on time for work. Geez, I need to like figure that out, because I'm losing my vacation pay. That's no good. All right, you guys, have a good one. We'll get back with you guys. Bay and Biddy. I guess Bay's downstairs sleeping on the couch. At least he's not next to me in my bed, thank God. Anyways, Bay and Biddy, we'll be back Wednesday and Sunday. Thanks for listening, and you guys have a great week.